Good evening. As you all know, last class we talked about Union Executive. Already we finished talking about Union Legislature, where we talked about two houses of the Parliament. Then we started talking about the Union Executive. So where we talked about one of the most important person of our country. So that is the President, the nominal head. So we talked about the President's qualification, election method, then vacate of the office, impeachment method, then five the four powers and functions: legislative, executive, and discretionary the powers and the emergency powers. So previous class we have talked. So before getting into the next organ, so that is the last organ of the country. So that is the judiciary or the judiciary system. Let us talk something about the two more the personalities, the important personalities of our country. So they are nothing but the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So in this lesson, actually, we used to study separately. First, we used to study about Council of Ministers, how the Council of Ministers are formed, how they are appointed, what are their powers and functions, and categories of ministers. In Council of Ministers, we are having categories of ministers: cabinet ministers, ministers of state, and deputy ministers. So like this categories we are having. Then after that, we used to go for the prime minister. So where separately we will be talking about the prime minister and the role of prime minister and the relationship of prime minister with the different categories of personalities. And finally, we used to come and we used to discuss about the differentiation between the Council of Ministers and the Cabinet Ministers. It's a very big concept or big lesson. But since the reduced syllabus for this year, so we are not going about much detail about the concept. Only we are talking something about the Council of Ministers. We will be talking just how, I mean, their appointment and formation we will be talking. Then straight away we will be going to the important person. So that will be Prime Minister. So Prime Minister and powers and functions of Prime Minister we will be talking. Then last we will come with the last topic of the lesson. So that is a differentiation between Council of Ministers and the Cabinet Ministers. So we are going to talk in this particular topic. So today's class, I just want to give an introduction and how this Council of Ministers are formed, their formation, then about the appointment of them and their tenure. So how long they can remain. Okay, then next class we will be talking about the Prime Minister and the powers and functions of Prime Minister. So we will be talking in the next class. Okay, we will discuss in the next class. So when we talk about this Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, the first and foremost thing that comes to our mind, if you see, actually you know the President. Okay, actually you all know the President is the nominal head. Okay, the President is the nominal head. So where we are having the President as the nominal head of the country. This is, I hope everybody know. And nominal head of the executive. Whereas the real executive of our country, okay, the real executive of, I mean, the executive powers are vested in the Council of Ministers. Okay, so that is the reason we call the President as a nominal head. Why President is called as a nominal head? The President is called as a nominal head because the real powers are vested in the hands of Council of Ministers, which is headed by one of the most important personality. So that is the Prime Minister. So he is the leader. Okay. Since the real powers are vested or the real executive powers are vested in the hands of the Council of Ministers, we call the President as a nominal head. Okay, nominal head of our country. So that's the first concept, so which we should know it. Okay, The real executive powers are vested in the hands of the Council of Ministers only. Okay, so that is the reason the president is called as a nominal head of the or nominal executive of our country. Okay, so that's the concept. So we should, you should know it. And the next concept so we are having is that is formation of Council of Ministers. How this Council of Ministers are formed. Okay, how this Council of Ministers are formed. So when we see how this Council of Ministers are formed, okay, so if you see the Article 75, okay, the Article 75 of the Indian Constitution, okay, of the Indian Constitution, so very clearly says Prime Minister when he is appointed by the President of India. Okay, so when Prime Minister is appointed by the President of India, and even other ministers shall also be appointed by Prime Minister, President of India, on the advice of Prime Minister. As you all know, once the Prime Minister is appointed by a President, even the Council of Ministers, other categories of ministers also should be appointed by President of India only. This is very clear in the Article 75 of the Indian Constitution. It's very clearly, says. Okay, when we talk about the formation, okay, when we talk about the formation, okay, when we talk about the formation of Council of Ministers, it's very clearly, it says, okay, it's very clearly says that already the Lok Sabha election takes up. Okay, so every 5 years once the Lok Sabha election will be taking place. So when Lok Sabha election when it takes place, the president, the president invites the leader of the party who wins the majority in the Lok Sabha election. Okay, the leader of the majority political party, so who wins the Lok Sabha election with the majority, such from that political party, a person is called, and that person is nothing but that person is called, and that person is asked to form the government, and that person is nothing but is the Prime Minister. Okay, so once the formation of government is made, once the Prime Minister is appointed, the Prime Minister prepares the list of his or her colleagues. His or her colleagues are nothing but Council of Ministers out of members of Parliament to be appointed as a minister. Once the Prime Minister makes his colleagues or his or her colleagues or his or her team, they are being appointed by the President. And President has no any rights to speak or to act against the selection of the Council of Ministers which was done by a Prime Minister. He cannot speak. Selecting the Council of Ministers, making a list of the Council of Ministers out of the members of a Parliament. So that has been given to the Prime Minister. After the selection, the President cannot give or President cannot act anything against the wish of a Prime Minister. Okay, that should be very clear. This is when a political party, which single political party, when it wins the majority. Suppose if the majority is not there, as we all know, the formation of coalitional government will take up. Okay, coalitional government will take up, and there also the president, he has got discretionary powers. Okay, he is going to use his discretionary powers, and he is going to appoint the Prime Minister. Then with the two political parties, the Council of Ministers will be planned out. Okay, that's the one aspect, so which we are, having it. And here if you see, this is the first concept, so which is, okay, the Prime Minister is the one so completely who prepares her or his or her complete team. And next thing, if you see, the Council of Ministers, very important, Council of Ministers should be a member of either house of a parliament. They should be a member of either house of a parliament before when they contest the election or when they become the members of a parliament. They should have membership either in the Lok Sabha or also anyone at a time. They cannot hold two house membership. Okay, either they should have a membership in either house of the parliament. Suppose they are new. Okay, they are newly contested the election and they have become a new member to the parliament. Okay, they have contested the election, they are on the election, and he or she has become an MP, but they are not a member of any house. So during such situation, if the person is not a member of a parliament, he or she can become a minister. They can become a minister by contesting the election. But the very condition is, after becoming a minister, he or she acquire the membership in the parliament. So within 6 months, 6 months, he or she will be given a time to take a membership in any of the house. If any of the house here means a member of parliament, Lok Sabha house membership, they have to take. If they fail to take the membership within a 6 months, then they have to give up their particular post. Okay, so the particular post will be given up. So where we will have an, the by-election will take place where that particular candidates, stood for the election. Okay, so this is a very important thing. So 1 mark question, so very important. Okay, the Council of Ministers should be a member of either, if a person is not, if a person is not a member of or non-member of a parliament, so how with the long he or she should become a member of the parliament within a period of the 6 months, duration, so which we are having it. Okay, so this is the one concept, so which we are having it. And next, if you see the appointment, okay, appointment, if you see here, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers are appointed by President of India. That's very clear. As you all know, all the appointments in India are made by the President of India only. So when the Prime Minister is appointed by a President, then even the Council of Ministers also should be appointed by a President only. Okay, in India. And the Council of Ministers are appointed on the advice of Prime Minister. And the list which is made of his or her colleagues, which is given to the President, to them only the Council of Ministers the appointment will be given by the President of India. So that should be very clear. Okay, appointing a Prime Minister, appointing of Council of Ministers, both will be done by the President of our country only. Okay, that's the one aspect, appointment we are having it. Then when we come to the tenure, how long? Suppose if they become members of a parliament, how long they can remain? And as you all know, Lok Sabha term is 5 years. Normal term is 5 years. But very strongly we cannot say, when the political party forms the government, we cannot say very strongly, we cannot say that this political party is going to, remain the 5 years completely in the power. No, we cannot say. So that is the reason. The tenure or term, if you see, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers can remain in office as long as, they have the majority support in Lok Sabha. Okay, even though their normal term is 5 years, but the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers tenure or a term depends on the majority support in the Lok Sabha. They should have, as long as they have the majority support, they can remain in the office, so which can make them to complete the tenure of 5 years. Suppose if they don't have, the majority support, suppose if they don't have majority support, so what happens to the tenure or the term of a Council of Ministers? If you see, Lok Sabha, they can remain, as long as they are. When the house is dissolved, when they don't have a majority support, then it is considered as a house is dissolved. We call it as when they don't have majority support, then we call that house has to be dissolved. If house is being dissolved, then entire the Council of Ministers and the Prime Ministers, all they have to resign. Okay, so when that resign, or when they lose their majority support, okay, or what makes to resign them when they loses the majority support? So if you see, so here are some of the reasons where the lose of the confidence of this Prime Minister and Council of Ministers can take place, okay, which can make to pass. So one is direct out of no confidence. When it is passed, the ministry, they have to resign. When vote of no confidence is expressed, that means they don't have majority support, they have to. And second thing is rejecting a government bill. So any government bill, when it is passed, Okay, that government bill has to be considered and it should not be rejected. If it is rejected, it can create a situation where the, Lok Sabha, the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, where they can feel that they are losing the support. And at the same time, passing an amendment to the bill against the government. Okay, it is not only a team of 230 or 225 members. No, it's a team of 552 representatives. Okay, 545 representatives. It's a team, so they should have a complete support. Okay, so when amendment to the bill against the government, if it is there, then the particularly they loses the support. And voting a cut in the annual budget. Okay, so annual budget. So voting a cut like reducing the salaries of the ministers, especially the oppositions. That all, if it is done, so completely they lose the support. Okay, that also can make. Then passing in adjournment motion. So as you all know, emergency, immediate, reaction to the national crisis or national disasters or whatever it may. So where if this ruling government or if the uh, ruling council of ministers or the prime minister, if they don't immediately, they don't take up the measures or they don't take up the react, that also can make us the majority party to lose of confidence. So once if the lose of confidence comes, their tenure gets over. So that is the reason, even though normal term is, we say tenure or term of the prime minister council of 5 years, but the very important is they should have as long as their support. If they don't have a support, that indicates the lose of confidence. So that lose of confidence can make the call of the house to be dissolved. Once if the house is dissolved, then midterm election can be called by the president of country. Okay, so that's about the tenure, appointment, and the formation of the council of ministers, which we are having it. So next class we will go with the a few more concepts about the prime minister and the council of ministers in the next class. So till here you can go through it. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me in the next class. So once you revise the textbook. Thank you.